All right, you already know who it is. It's Father Lou in the building. That's right. We're rolling. The mics are hot, and the clouds are digital. This little patch is called Ghost Hardware. Kind of dig it. It's weird. How's it going? Father Moo here, back from my vacation. I was in Thailand for the weekend. It was a lot of fun. I didn't bring any of my synth gear with me there. Although if I go back for another weekend, I might bring my little portable Eurorack pod, whatever that's called. 4MS pods. Really beautiful place, really friendly people, lovely weather. And I was playing a little game on the Switch called Dredge. If you never played Dredge before, I highly recommend you go get it. It's an awesome game. I used to hang out in this part of BC called the Gulf Islands, and in many ways, Dredge is like a Gulf Island simulator. You can drive your little boat around and play the foghorn, and it's super fun. Highly recommend. So I thought I'd come in here today and make a patch. I got a short week here in the office because I had my vacation on one end of it, and we got a national holiday tomorrow. So I'll admit I do not have any idea at all what I'm going to build, so I think I'll just build freely. Yeah, and when I say zero idea, I really mean it. I just had a little bit of free time, so I thought I'd run into the room with the gear here and set it up and do a little stream for y'all. So I think I might start with this little bad boy. I haven't used this oscillator a ton in the streams. Back in the day, I used to use it all the time. Everybody knows how much I love the drum sound sequencer, which is good for making drums. The percussion oscillator seems to be better at making tuned or playable drums, I would say. And, oh my god, I just realized what I could do. That might be fun. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, fine. This just came to me right now, but I'm going to do it. I put in 3 tuned oscillators, and I was just thinking to myself, what other drum machine uses 3 tuned oscillators? And then I realized what it was. It's the Metasonix D-1000, a tube-based drum machine that was, I think it sold for like $1,500 when it came out, and now it costs like $5,000 to $10,000, which is ridiculous. But that's how it goes with Metasonix gear, because out of production, people go on Reverb and sell it for way more than anyone would really think it was worth. I should put a compressor in here too. So yeah, my idea for today is let's emulate that drum machine. I am never going to be able to own one of those drum machines. And actually, I'd sort of given up on the emulation game in this stream. I was like, there's nothing really that I can emulate that is of much value to my listeners, because unless you're the few people out there who have the same synth as me, the results I'd get would be so different that it's kind of pointless. And if you're using VCV rack or something, unless you get the settings, it's all about the settings. It's not about like, can you wire 3 oscillators into a mixer and boom, you're a mini Moog or whatever. It's all about tweaking the knobs to get the sounds right, and that's a lot more complicated than it looks. So luckily I know the D-1000 relatively well, or I think I know it well. So I can tell you it consists of 3 tuned tube oscillators. Sorry, I got a bit of a cough today. Didn't bring my bottle of water in with me. So yeah, 3 tuned tube oscillators, and it's also got a a tube-based noise oscillator. So it has a total of 4 possible tones. And I'm going to emulate these relatively similarly to what you saw me do before, which is to get a tube-like sound. I even calling it tube-like is like blasphemy. I shouldn't really say that. It's not going to sound like an actual tube. It'd be more accurate to say I'm parodying or just, let's say, imitating the sounds of a tube with my audio processing here. I talked about this before. The Nord Micromodular is actually pretty great at this kind of stuff. Here we've got overdrive, wave wrapper, who's usually intended for sine waves, doesn't have to be, and also clip, which is going to cut off bits of the waveform to create a distortion-like sound. And I don't know if this is probably not very accurate to the sound of the D-1000, but for the noise, I'm going to give it a digitizer at the end of the signal chain just to give it something to growl it up and give it a bit more grit. The reason I say digitizer isn't appropriate is because the D-1000 is built with tubes, and a digitizer, as you can tell from the name, is a digital module, not an analog or a valve-based module. But there are certainly sounds that come out of a tube noise oscillator, like I have the Thyrotron, which can sound, I don't want to say they sound too similar to the digitizer, but they're in the same ballpark because they're doing things with, at the very high end of the frequency range, which kind of sounds like adjusting the sample rate. If I had the hardware here to play it for you and prove it, maybe you'd believe me. If you don't want to believe me for now, that's okay. I'll let you off the hook. So let's wire in some simple processing here. Oh, I also put a compressor after the mixer because I believe the way I believe there's like a tube VCA at the end of the signal chain after you mix the 4 voices of the D-1000, and if you run 4 hot circuits into one tube VCA, you're going to make those circuits sort of fight for the headroom, for the space in the audio, and the final effects you're going to get are going to be very similar to a kind of compression. They're going to be very squeezed together. Okay, I made a mistake right off the bat. These percussion oscillators don't need envelopes because it's already built into their technology, but the noise is going to need one. I was inclined to give it attack decay. This is probably closer to what you'd actually get from the D-1000. So yeah, let me try to be a purist, although that's kind of blasphemy, as I said, with the digitalness of our circuit here. But yeah, so we're going to run I've decided to put the gate after the digitizer. I don't think it makes a huge difference if you put it before or after. It's going to be kind of the same thing. But yeah, so we've got these 4 independent tracks running into the mixer into the compressor, and the compressor into our outputs. So finally we need a clock and some sequencing. The D-1000 came with a very, very, and this is not a criticism, this is just a fact, a very, very primitive sequencer. In fact, for each of the 4 voices, there would be 8 little switches underneath. Now, if the switch was up, the voice is on, and the switch is down, the voice is off. So we can imitate those with the event sequencer here, although we have, you know what, let's do it accurately. Let's make them both 8-step sequencers or less, because that is what the D-1000 has. If I was running this in real life, I'd probably adjust them to 16, but I'm just trying to get it right. And let's sync them up using this sync to reset. And sync to reset. This should line up soon enough. There they go. They seem to be going there. And send the outs. Here we're going to use trig in from each of the percussion oscillators. And the final voice will go down to the AD envelope here. I was thinking about putting in some generative patterns, but I think I'm happy with the 8-step approach. So let's see if we can make something usable as a pattern here. What we've got now is the oscillators all sound identical, so we need to tune them apart to give them more. Let's just hold on a second here. Okay, I'm just going to mute these guys. So I was talking about tweaking the knobs. Let's tweak the knobs now. So for my first oscillator, who's playing a very simple pattern, I'm going to make him the kick drum. So first of all, I'm going to tune him way down. And I'm just going to do something different here. Usually, if you watch me use the percussion oscillators, I tend to tune them to notes or to octaves of each other. But with the tube drums, it's going to be unlikely that they're going to be in tune or they're going to stay in tune. So I'm just going to free form it here. I'm not even going to display the key registry and just the hertz, so I don't actually know where each one is going to be. I'm just going to go by ear. I'm not sure. I hope you have your headphones on to hear this clearly. Let's just adjust the knobs here. Good. So it's kind of like an 808 type kick. It's not too long of a decay, but it's got some decay. I left punch off. I'll probably be using that on another one later. Let's start giving him some overdrive. That's a nice sound. Good. Okay, so there he is. There's our kick drum. The second one will be our snare. One of the other times I synthesized the snare, I was using the a noise oscillator with it, but I have only 4 voices here in my emulation, so I'm gonna try and do something without it. Start taking the decay down. And give it some punch. It's good. I'm feeling the kick is a bit overwhelmingly loud. I'm just realizing we have reverb on the sound card. For the purposes of this, just so we can hear it, let's just take it off for now, so we know what we're listening to. This isn't bad. Is decay too short? There's the max click. Well, let's see if what we can do with Wave Wrapper to adjust it. There we go. So you see that can actually be quite a useful sound shaper. That may not be everybody's cup of tea as a snare, but it certainly is a snare. And again, why are these here? Well, tubes are always going to distort in different ways. I can't say that overdrive, wave wrap, and clipping are exactly what's in the circuit for the first three voices of the D-1000, but they absolutely do distort, so this is my way of imitating that. So let's go on to our third voice. Bit of a weird pattern, but I'm not opposed to it right now. So if we have the noise coming up, actually, you know what? Let's just do that first. So this is our noise oscillator going through the digitizer. So we try to make a hi-hat, so let's use this for that. That's good. I'm adding attack, but not too much. There. When you get the whooshing sound, you've probably gone too far. But if you want some variation in your sound, a little bit of increase in the attack can't hurt. I think I want my decay even shorter than this. There we go. Cool. And we've got one voice left. We've done kick, snare, and hi-hat, so this is just a sort of other voice. Let's see if we can find something interesting for him to do. Tune him up. So he could almost be like a rim shot. Okay, it's a little quiet. Let's do some level adjusting here. The hi-hat can come down. I'm going to bring the... Yeah. So a simple little beat there. Oh, I forgot to use the clip. Let's see if we can get something interesting out of this. Don't forget to... If that doesn't give me anything, let's try engaging this symmetricality. Wow, listen to that. Let's clip all the way on. It's a little bit more metallic now, a little bit almost like an 808 cowbell, although that's probably exaggerating. It's got a, oh, you know what it sounds like? The VL1, the da-da-da drum machine. Kind of. Okay, so I think that's going to do it for today. I like where this got for a guy who had zero plans and came up with one without even looking up the D-1000's circuitry, just sort of knowing it because I've wanted one for a long time. This is pretty simplistic, but it's also pretty fun. And for the few pieces of hardware out there that you're really never going to get your hands on, having a modular is a nice way to say, well, haha, I built something that's pretty similar to it. So, yeah. Again, if I wasn't trying to maintain accuracy, to be honest here, as I said before, overdrive, wave wrap, and clip aren't exactly what the tubes have in their circuits in the D-1000. This is my way of emulating them or trying to sound like them because of what I know about how tubes work. Same thing with the 8-step sequencer. I mean, I could have given myself a lot more flexibility by using the clock random pattern generator or setting these to 16 and 16 or 16 and 14. They could be a lot more interesting. Another thing I could do is send LFOs into these amounts or into here, but the D-1000 doesn't technically have that LFO input. You could adjust the knobs in real time, or you could mod it. I think there's I think there's some CV inputs, for example, like I think you can bypass the onboard sequencers and drive them from, click inputs like CV pulses. But since I was limited in my emulation on one side, I decided to get more accurate on the other side. So that's my justification anyway. Okay, yeah, happy with this one. Let's save it. Pattern's a little repetitive by now, but yeah. So 78. And I'm going to call this... That is not right. It's doing that thing again. Don't do that thing. 78 tube drum. What the heck? Stupid piece of... Why does it keep changing back again? What the hell, man? Let's try this. PCH. There we go. 78 tube drum. While I'm talking about tube-based drum machines, I will also say I love the D-1000. Later, he made the D-2000, which is also very, very good. There's also a guy in Germany, and if you search Voodoo Tube Drum Machine, he's got a couple of videos there, and he uses the tuned tube drums to make what he's I think he's going for a more African rhythm style, or maybe just the tuned drums. He's trying to sound more like congas and bongos than like a traditional trap kit or drum set. But anyway, yeah, if you're interested, just Google Voodoo Tube Drum Machine, and you should be able to find it. That's how I found it. Oh, okay, it's saved in the synth. So there it is. That's the Tube Drum Machine. Thank you for tuning in again for yet another installment of Father Moo's Big Church. Because of my heavy vacationing and lifestyle, the videos have dropped off, but I hope to improve the number and, of course, the quality when I get there. So thanks again. Appreciate all the support from all the fans, and we will see you very soon, probably on Sunday. Peace out.